how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again. And yes, after a whole day of being trained up, I now feel like a bit of a legal eagle after spending, 7-8 hours listening to the arguments from the Premier League and from St James's Holden, which is obviously Mike Ashley and ultimately Newcastle's side of the argument with regards to today's developments in the Cat case. So yeah, it's been fascinating viewing. Thousands of fellow Newcastle fans have been watching all day, and some really, really good things, some concerning things, some really alarming things have all came out. Obviously, no final decision or anything else yet straight away. That will come out in due course, relatively shortly, you would imagine. I think, on the basis of it, after sitting through 7-8 hours of it, I do actually come out feeling quite more positive, slightly more sure about things and the direction we're going. And I think that just comes down to a large part of it, just having a little bit of certainty and clarity, and why some of this information couldn't have been communicated prior. I just simply don't know, because as a fan base, we've been put through the shit season after season after season, on the pitch, off the pitch, obviously with losing Rafa, getting Steve Bruce, the football, this, that and the other, and then this circus going on in the background of the takeover. Well, like I say, it felt like it stepped up a gear. It felt today like the beginning of the end stretch of this saga that has gone on longer than fucking Coronation Street and EastEnders, to be honest. And a soap opera it was. It started out with the Premier League waffling through, hiding behind the shield of, we want this to be private, we want that to be private, and there were breaks in the transmission when matters with regards to sort of business confidentiality and that side of it were discussed. I think the people who are actually running the case were a little bit aggrieved to that. That's my feel of it. I think they wanted as much as possible to be in the open. I think they knew about how many thousands of people were watching and the implications that this has on many, many people around the world who support our football club. But yeah, the Premier League put it forward. They wanted the case thrown out. They didn't think that there was anything to answer for. But Newcastle fought back. But it was very interesting to find out little things, which it does feel like a weight off your shoulder. Arbitration. Now, we were all a little bit confused with regards to when that came out originally, and it was talk of early 2022. Well, what's that? January, February, March, April, is May, for a start. Nobody was certain, but we have certainty on that, and it was revealed today. It will start on the 3rd of January. Carl's birthday, as it turns out. What a present that potentially could be. But yeah, the case will start on the 3rd, and it is believed, it is expected to last around about a week, and then from there a decision will be looked at really quickly. Now this seems to me different sort of language to what the Premier League has said before, because they've constantly delayed, and now it seems that the certainty on the date, we're talking about a week maximum for all the arguments to be made, and then a decision to be got at really, really quickly afterwards. And one of the key things to come out today is that the only issue is the issue of separation. So these journalists who banged on about piracy and human rights record and stuff, clearly that must have been satisfied, because the issue is separation. Now, if you think back to what our government have said before, if you think back to some of the documents that have been provided, some of the leaks with regards to that, I think, there is a huge sway to say there was a lot of evidence that there is separation, and since then, extra layers of separation have been put in. It goes to show that there isn't that control from the Saudi government over Newcastle's day-to-day operations, and that's all they've got to prove. Doesn't matter in a way where the money comes from to fund that, as much as who has control over the football club ultimately, who has that 80% share. So it is going to be a huge battle about separation, and should that go in Newcastle's way, then the Premier League basically said they'll be in a position to be able to get this expedited and sorted, and there will be no further barriers stopping the Saudis from joining Stavely's and Rubens to complete the deal and to take over at Newcastle United, which is fantastic. And that was a really, really big thing for me. To hear that, on top of looking back over some of the previous videos and stuff that we've put out on social media over the last few months, listening back to the Stavely interview where she spoke to Simon Jordan, saying, look, because it was suggested today there's no guarantee that the Saudis are going to be still there. Because obviously this is a wrangling about money, isn't it? It's about pound notes. So they were suggesting, well, we don't even know whether they're going to still be there. But you hark back to that interview, which is a month or two ago, and Stavely putting Simon Jordan clearly in his place, saying, look, we're still here, the Consortium is still here, and that includes the Saudi PIFs. And she said quite deliberately, yes, they are there. They are still there. They are still in the wings. They want the deal to be sorted just as much as us. And you've got to think these are proud people that don't like to lose out. With the money that they've got and the influence and the sway, they will want this deal done, and that's certainly how it looks on the face of it. So going off what Stavely said only literally a month or two ago on TalkSport, coupling that with the possibility of a clear route out of this and precise dates and timescales, and it does start to make you feel a little bit more confident. The shocking thing come when it emerged that a possibility, something that was discussed and murmured about, was Newcastle being kicked out of the league for not agreeing to certain things. And it goes to show you the severity of what is happening at the football club and how just so literally dirty this thing has got, and how much in the mud that this has got. That was a realistic possibility. They've said it was discussed, it was said, but it was taken back. But it beggars belief that you can have the greedy six nearly fuck the entire football pyramid up, take their ball and literally walk off and ruin the entire structure. They get a £3 million fine. Like Newcastle, all we want is a takeover, a fresh start, an owner who gives a fuck, some direction, some hope, some positivity around the football club. And we get threatened with expulsion. It is beyond an absolute joke, and it's definitely something that myself and Carl are going to be discussing on the Magpie 24/7 podcast, which returns this week. We said we're going to push it back to monthly for the time being with everything so negative and down, but obviously with developments today, with a couple of matches have gone, change of formation, improvement in performance, if not results, then the Magpie 24 podcast, it comes back this week. It's going to be one night this week when I record it, and it's going to be out along with the preview and everything for this weekend's huge game against Wolves, where we're looking for the first win of the season. I found it unbelievable that the people's game, the working classes game, was threatened to be taken away from a city like Newcastle because we wouldn't conform to their rules and regulations. And it further just darkens it with all these links to Qatar and all these sort of geopolitical issues and the crap that's going on. And you just can't help but feel that Newcastle are in a pawn of all of this shenanigans that is going on. But Newcastle took the second half, and at half time you're sitting there worrying, you're thinking, yeah, I'm a Newcastle supporter, I'm used to Steve Bruce coming in at half time and fucking it over and us leading at half time but then losing on full time. But I thought the Newcastle legal team, also with Nick DeMarco off the subs bench as well, as donning a very nice black and white tie, it must be said, really, really ramped up the argument. And to me, they had the Premier League's legal team on the ropes, and I can't see a way how this side of it wouldn't progress. Now, this, like I said, this is Mike Ashley's meal ticket. So if next year, if at the beginning of next year it goes our way and we go back to the Saudis and we rework out a deal that's for less, he knows he's got the safety blanket of this case then potentially to get any shortfall in drop in what the price is, courtesy of the Premier League. So it is a safety blanket. I do think Ashley's won it. He has come out and made a statement after the event to hopefully suggest that, look, We want to keep the Saudis involved. We don't know how much longer they're going to be involved. There are other clubs that are available, such as Inter Milan. Come back to the negotiating table, come and see sense, and let's push this deal through. So he's very much saying, look, common sense can still prevail. You need to come back to the table. We can sort this out, and we can get this takeover done, and all these legal issues and problems can be sorted, because there's no doubt about it. If this arbitration goes forward, it lets more cats out the bags. It causes more trouble, more question marks. There's got to be government sniffing around this like a fly around shit with regards to what they've been saying about football governance and stuff recently, because it just absolutely reeked of shit what the Premier League side were coming up with. And some of this, like I said, the ludicrous stuff that they were saying about the club, quoting newspaper articles. The Chronicle got through under the bus a couple of times, and some of the other national papers as well also got through under the bus. But no, Ashley very much still wants to come to the deal. It's all about the deal, and it's his typical business self that look, a deal can be done, we can work this out. So it remains a possibility, I think, that something is done and sorted beforehand, but the Premier League have surely got to concede that it went Newcastle's way, and if it's anything other than that, you would severely raise your eyebrows when the judgment is announced in due course from today's proceedings. But definitely lots and lots of positives, lots of strange stuff. The Premier League really should come out and say something with regards to the threats they made against our football club. With everything that is going on in the modern world, of everything that's going in with sport, with the black hole in the finances and this, that and the other, and they're doing this sort of thing and making threats, it makes Dick Master look like a bigger dick than what he already is. And to be honest, he's in a league of his fucking own, isn't he? He really, really is. Himself, Hoffman and all them, and these dodgy deals. What a day. What a day of high drama. Like I said, we're going to look into it in further detail on the Magpie 24/7 podcast. I've really enjoyed looking at everything else that everybody's been saying. Content that's coming out. It's been fantastic to see the entire Newcastle fan base club together, home together, all with a common purpose, all wanting some positive news. And I think certainly with regards to information about the arbitration and also how quickly that could be sorted afterwards, that is good. And we're going to concentrate on that as opposed to being dubbed Mr. Negative by certain folk and certain people and stuff like that. But let me know what you thought about the proceedings today. Did you watch it all? Did you watch bits of it? Do you feel more or less confident with regards to the takeover and everything else? Or do you think it's purely now just down to money and compensation for Mike Ashley and making sure that he's okay? So let me know down below. Take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.